Hey, here we go, guys. Welcome, YouTube. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the 60th and final episode of FPL Family for season 18-19. That is it, Sam. This is it. The final episode. Everything has been won. Congratulations. Congratulations to Manchester. Not to you. To you, yes. To you also, yes. But also to Man City is what I was going to say. But yes, congratulations to you too for your top 30k finish or whatever you were.
Just for beating you. Just for beating
me. You've already given me out the wooden spoon trophy this time last week. I don't want it again. It's been put on the shelf until next year.
By the castle.
Remind the folks at home of your overall rank. Where did you end up?
26.
26k. Very, very good. I was at 68k, guys. Pretty happy with that, given where I was. And we will do a full game week or game season review. Not game week by game week, but I'll put up. No, this is not a 10-hour stream, but I will put up where my green and red arrows were this season, because there's one game week in particular where my game week rank was 5-point-something million, and that is the tail of the tape in terms of how it fell away, I can tell you. So welcome, guys. This is, like we say, episode 60, the last episode for this season of FPL Family. It's been a good one, though, isn't it? Really enjoyable season full of all sorts of great stuff, and we've got loads of good stuff to talk through with you this evening, not least our interview with Yanski. So we've got a video with Yanski coming up in a bit. Yanski was our manager of the month for May. Another patron that wanted a Liverpool shirt, by the way. Good taste over in the Patreon. Good taste over in the Slack. Very, very good. So Yanski's got a Liverpool shirt winging its way in the post to him right now, and he did a little pre-recorded interview with us a couple of days back. So we've got that video to show you. You, Sam, from FPL Family, have done some absolutely awesome research.
Well, you can't claim it's awesome yet, because you haven't seen it.
You've done some research on Aston Villa.
No, I haven't done Villa.
Who have you done?
Norwich and... Who else is coming up? Sheffield United. I haven't done Villa yet, because I don't know if they're coming up yet.
It's so thorough.
It is. Look, a page on each of them.
You couldn't even remember who it was. Sheffield United and...
Did it at the beginning of Norwich.
Okay,
but I haven't done Villa or Derby, because what was the point? I would be wasting my time with one of them. No one's interested in the one that stays in the Championship, are they? So
Sheffield United.
For the first pre-season stream that we do, I'll do the same for the one that wins the
whoever
playoff.
It is that comes up. Or maybe we might do a little special one-off Ohana podcast with a bit of research on whoever comes up.
Oh, I could do an Ohana on it.
Could do something like that. So patrons, look out for that. So Sam, you've got some insight, which I don't... That is basically a Sam monologue. I have nothing to add to that. I know very little about the teams coming up, I have to say. So if you've got some insight from an FPL perspective in terms of who to go for, then you forgot that Sheffield United are one of the teams coming up.
It's because I did this ages ago, in the beginning of the week.
I'm very much looking forward to it. Very much looking forward to that segment where I will go and probably put the kettle on and let you just take over. I think that'd be very good. So we've got Yanski, we've got a bit from you. We've also got our pre-season predictions, guys. So those of you that have been with us since game week 1 will know, or maybe even before game week 1, was it in a pre-season video? We did some Premier League predictions. Both I did some and Sam did some. We sealed them in these envelopes and we have not touched them until this game week. We're going to have a look at what we said. We predicted the top 4, we predicted the bottom 3, and we predicted the top goals. Why are you looking at that? Are you a bit concerned?
No, I
100% know who you put top goal scorer. And he didn't get the golden boot. So
well, that's because he was injured for half the season. If he'd have played for the whole season, I guarantee he would have got it.
So there it is. The predictions are coming up a bit later in the stream, guys. We'll do, as usual, and you guys are listening to all the pods and all the vlogs and stuff, and we were on the FPL Wildcats a couple of days ago, weren't we? So thank you to Nymphria and the team for allowing us to come on and gate crash the FPL Wildcats a couple of days ago. Loads of talk on that stream about players of the year and team of the year. We'll do a little bit of that. But I feel like it's been done to death a little bit over the last week or so. So we've got some polls. Get into the polls. Tell us who you think's the best keeper, defender, midfielder and forward for the season. We'll review those towards the end. And we'll just have a bit of a general chit-chat about how things have gone this year. Top moments, players to look out for next season. All that good stuff. So before we get going, let's say hello to a few people. Let's get into...
Suppose a bit. Put my glasses on.
Stick your glasses on so you can start reading some of this stuff.
Are.
They need a bit of a clean. Do you need a tissue?
Goodness.
I've got a tissue here. Do you want one?
No, because it will scratch them. I'll do it on my dress.
Okay, very good. All right, very good. Let's get into the live chat. I'm pretty sure that I saw a super chat actually just as we were coming on. So here it is. Toxic Fusion. Thank you very much for the super chat. First season playing FPL and your vids are great.
Oh, thank you.
I've not. After 60 episodes, you think I'd have got the hang of doing this? Look, there we go. There we go. Right, you think I'd have got the hang of doing this? Goodness me.
That's very kind. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Toxic Fusion. Very, very good. Great to see you in the live streams. A regular, absolutely regular Toxic Fusion here every single week. Dan is here, FPL Chancer. How are you doing? Dan, a pretty new moderator for us over the last few weeks, doing an absolutely sterling job.
Dan.
A sterling job. Making Sam choke. What's going on?
Dan, where are you watching the final?
Oh, yes. Do we need to update everybody on where you are watching the final?
Yeah.
We will not be together, guys. We will not be watching the Champions League final together.
Oh, what is... Excuse me, I just died.
Is this indicative of how Spurs are going to choke in the final? Is this a...
Bonfield, come on.
Is this a little precursor to what's going to happen on June the 1st?
This is still from lunchtime when I nearly killed myself choking on lunch.
With a Dorito, yes. We almost didn't come live to you this evening, guys, because Sam almost died via a tangy cheese Dorito at lunchtime, which would have been pretty much the worst way to go.
Yeah, I can't think of many worse ways than that, to
Absolutely.
be honest.
So you will be watching the Champions League final at the new stadium to watch on the big Jumbotron, right?
Yeah, unfortunately, we were 1 loyalty point shy of Madrid.
One loyalty point shy of a cup final ticket.
Yeah.
I'm gutting this out.
Needed 209 and we had 208. So we're going to White Hart Lane. So if anybody is going to White Hart Lane, give me a shout.
Absolutely, yeah.
I'll live stream. I'll Insta live.
I will expect a few Insta lives.
Insta live.
Something, guys, that we will be putting a lot more effort into next season. Watch out for that. A lot more.
Even you?
A lot more Insta lives and a lot more hot takes, a lot more quick reaction videos coming next season, guys. Look out for that. Look out for that.
News to me.
I haven't even told you about that yet,
That's
but we're doing it. So and it's mostly you. So.
Yeah. Give me some more work to do. Why not?
Yansky is in. Yansky, how you doing? Good evening. Looking forward to the video. Absolutely looking forward to the video in a little while. Josh is here. Josh Telling, how you doing, Josh? Steve Wynyard is in. Scott Schrager is in. Neil is in. How you doing, Neil? Good evening. Azzy is here. How you doing, Azzy? Let's see who else we got towards the bottom of the chat. Scroll back down.
Joe.
Joe is in. Commiserations, Joe.
Joe.
I did send Joe a bit of a tweet earlier just to say commiserations. It was. I tell you what. It was. What was your take on the cup final? City were just different class, weren't they?
But one thing I will say, the Watford fans were amazing.
I'll tell you what.
Like, amazing, those Watford fans. I know Joe was there. They were unbelievable.
Yeah. To a man, stayed. Even when 6-0 down, got the flags out, just thoroughly enjoyed the day. And
credit, they were absolute credit to just football generally, the way they behaved.
100%. I thought that it was a...
They could have easily just gone, I'm off.
Yeah, because it wasn't... It's difficult to say it was a good final because it wasn't really, was it? It was very one-sided and it was a bit over, wasn't it, before it even began. However, if Pereira scores that, I mean, if he scores that little counter-attack goal, I mean, anything could have happened, right? But he didn't, and it just kind of got away from Watford, which is a real shame.
We were I won't speak for you, but I was very much supporting my local team.
I would have loved to have seen Watford. I 100% like to see Watford win it. However, we have to say well done to City because that is
they played fantastically
an unprecedented treble, which has never been done before. I mean, that is absolutely phenomenal, right?
Highest win.
Highest win in a final, I think.
Yeah.
Yes, highest win in a final, I think so.
Couldn't quite work out how to say that then.
Leo is in and moderating. How you doing, Leo? Nimfria is here. Hey, Nim, how you
Nim.
doing? Good evening. Good evening.
Your sister-in-law.
Oh, don't you start with that. You'll start all sorts of rumours. Stealth Panda is here. How are you doing, Stealth? John Chappell is here. We've got Nigel Walters, Liam Wrist, Clacko, a whole host of you guys in. So, guys, thank you for joining on what is, frankly, a stream which is going to have no FPL content. I mean, frankly,
Excuse me, I've done some research. I've got some stats.
Okay, all right, except for that.
Absolute cheeky monkey.
We are, FPL content insofar as it's a season in review rather than here's how you should play, the next game week, because of course there isn't one. So where do you want to start? I think we should start with our May Manager of the Month, right? I think we should introduce Yanski, and then I think you should fill me in the sort of 8 to 9 minutes or so we've got of Yanski and what the hell you're planning to talk about with the championship sides coming up.
No, in fact, I'll make you leave because these are all absolutely gold dust.
I'll leave the room and you could just do it on your own.
I don't want you to know about them. I've done all this research and these are going to be the guys that beat you again for a hat-trick season next year.
Listen, I cannot wait to get some little gems of championship wisdom from you, Sam. Is he a thing again now, is he?
Yeah, it's a thing. It's the Norwich keeper.
Good Lord. All right, guys. Literally, the anticipation in the live chat is
it's bubbling,
brimming with excitement at hearing about Tim
control.
Krul for next season. Good lord!
I didn't write anything down about him.
Jeepers, right? Okay.
I just wrote that he was the keeper. That's all I wrote about him.
Is that the insight?
Well, about him, yeah.
Tim Krul is the Norwich keeper.
He's made 46 appearances. There you go. That's it on him. I've got loads on everyone else. So I just
For more unbelievable insight, guys, stay tuned. Stay tuned until the end of the video with Yanski. So Yanski, I know he's in tonight. Welcome to the live stream. Thank you for talking to us a couple of days ago, Yanski. Really nice to talk to you. Yanski was our manager of the month in our Patreon leagues for May. There was only 2 game weeks in May, so anybody could have won it, and he came out of nowhere in that second week to pip everybody else to the title in May. So, without further ado, I will switch the screen over to me and you, actually. Hand it over to ourselves.
Let's hand it over to ourselves on whatever day of the week it was.
A couple of days back.
Let's travel back in time.
Wasn't it? A couple of days back. So here we go. Let's play this video and we'll see you in a few minutes, guys. This is Yanski from a couple of days ago. So, Yanski, welcome to the FPL Family Show. Thank you for taking part in our Manager of the Month competition for May. A bit like Tracy last month, absolutely come out of nowhere in the second game week to storm the Manager of the Month League in May. Tell the folks from the FPL Family community a bit about yourself, Yanski, and where you're from.
Well, first of all, thanks for having me, Lee and Sam. I've been enjoying the streams all season and before the season even started, so it's been one of my week's highlights to see you twice a week.
Oh, that's very kind of you. Thanks, buddy.
You.
Yeah, well, I haven't been able to tune in every time, but I've been trying to catch up with what's going on all the time, and it's been very enjoyable. So let's get that over with.
Cool, thank you very much. And tell the folks where you're from. You're from Finland, right?
I'm from Finland, yeah, and I've been playing the game ever since it's been online. I think it was put online at 06 or something like that. So every season I've been playing it.
You're a veteran.
I guess you could call me that. Yeah, yeah, but I just enjoy watching the Premier League games, and it adds a whole lot of another dimension to just watching the games, and I've enjoyed it.
I think you're absolutely right. I don't know, and you're probably aware of this, Yanski, but actually, did you know the Scandinavians, Sam, have got a very, very good reputation in FPL?
Yeah.
Particularly, and I must say it's the Norwegians normally, but actually it's in the Scandinavian region. They're very, very good at FPL. I actually noticed somebody on Twitter the other day. He was a Norwegian FPL player.
Right.
Something like 200k, 200, not K, 200 overall rank. Yet he was only 49th in Norway.
Really?
So like one in 4 of the top 200 managers in FPL are Norwegian.
Do you get to watch more football? Is there more football live out there? Is that why?
Well, I can't really say. We get the 3 o'clock games, which you don't get in.
Yeah.
We don't get those.
No.
We get the 3 o'clock games, so that's always a highlight of my weekend to really just get in front of the telly at 3. Well, at my time it's at 5 o'clock, but same thing, And I've been doing that ever since I was a little kid. My father really taught me to watch these games when I was little, and that was a while ago.
Oh, well done, Dad. Well done, Dad.
Every Saturday, so.
That's proper parenting, that is.
Very good parenting.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that we're going to instill a bit of that into our kids as well.
They're forced into it, aren't they?
Do that. Definitely do that. Yeah.
Well, I think you've brainwashed them a little bit towards Tottenham. I'm just putting that out there. I just think you've
They're
brainwashed
part of the blue
them.
and white army.
Oh, my goodness me. Yanski, tell us a bit about FPL then. How's your season gone? Game week 38 just gone. The season is over. We'll be putting this video out on our season review video this Sunday. So we're recording this a bit earlier in the week. But by the time the guys see it, we'll be midway through our season review. And I guess we would have spoken a little bit about, well, we definitely would have spoken about how we've got on, but we'll be speaking about players of the year, who's been, I don't know if you had a player in your team since game week 1 that's always been there. Tell us about your season in review and who's your player of the year.
Well, my season in review was kind of like felt I started pretty strong in the August September sort of thing, but then I kind of stalled, and then it felt like I was yo-yoing up and down and didn't really.
It's been tough. It's definitely been tough.
Hard season this year.
But it has been really hard. I mean, the competition gets fierce, really fierce. But by the season, you know, I feel that every year it's harder and harder because the information is more out there, and you know, people like yourself and lots of different YouTubers and Twitter users and whatever. So the information is more out there, and the competition is more fierce every year. So it's kind of like, yeah. But no, but my overall ranking was 94k.
Pretty good. You happy with that?
Yeah. Well, you always hope for more.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
My aim of the season is always to get my highest rank of the season at the last weekend, and I didn't quite manage that. I've been 84k at the best, and I was 3 weeks I was at 84k, but never got above that.
Well, 94k is still very commendable, by the way. And I you know, one of the things that I'm sure we will talk about on the Sunday show in a minute, if that makes sense, is the
or
fact
in the past, if we have already.
Or in the past, yeah, weird this, isn't it? Yeah, we might be confused. But one of the things I guess, it's just a weird sort of matrix thing going on. One of the things I'm sure we will have talked about, or will talk about over the next few minutes, is the fact that, well, not only the fact that you mentioned, Yanski, there is so much information out there that sometimes you have to you kind of wade through a lot of the information to get to the real nuggets. That's the first challenge. And the second one is that the kind of Twitter community in FPL kind of puts you under a little bit of pressure, because you kind of feel like, well, here I am against all these other great managers, and people are on there saying, oh, I've had a great week, I'm in the top 10k, top 5k, and all of a sudden you don't feel like, in your case, Yanski, maybe, you know, 94, I could have done better. 94k is amazing, right? That is in the top 1.4, maybe 1.5, maybe 2% of the game. So I think it's a really good achievement anywhere in that sort of region. It's fantastic.
I think you forget, don't you, when you're involved in FPL and in the big communities, particularly Twitter and obviously the YouTubers amongst us, you listen to all of these overall ranks and you kind of get blindsided by the fact that, you know, I spent a day feeling quite negative about my 26k finish, and then strangely I spoke
Come on, 26k.
I know. But do you know what it took? It took my estate agent phoned, and they know that we're FPLers and they watch, and he said, that's amazing. And I was like, actually, do you know what? Yeah. That is amazing. You know, I'm still happy with that.
You just have to put the things into perspective, and
absolutely.
Exactly.
That's it.
So Yanski, give us your player of the year. And by the way, you are not allowed to have Raul Jimenez, because everyone is saying Raul Jimenez. So tell us your player of the year outside of the Wolves man.
We'll just assume Jimenez is everybody's.
Well, yeah, he's quite popular, isn't he?
Well, that is what I would have said if I
oh, sorry.
got free choice, but yeah, hard to say really. Of course, the Andy Robertson is of course the man, perhaps, but it's kind of boring to choose a defensive player, because I like to play the game so that I'll attack as much as possible, and you know, FPL is a goal scoring game, and you know, you always look for the sort of attacking results there. But yeah, if I had to choose, then it would be probably Andy Robertson.
Robbo's a good choice. I think he's a good choice. And just that we were Yansky and I having a little chat while we were waiting for you to come back downstairs. And we were talking about Trent as well, the other Liverpool fullback, who I think if he was afforded the same amount of minutes as Robbo in the season just gone, I mean, the guy's an assist machine. He gets assist after assist. Exactly, he's absolutely fantastic. Yeah. He's fantastic.
Yeah, but you can't really think about the whole season assets to be sort of players who don't get minutes. You always have to aim for guys that get the minutes. Even my bench is usually players who get consistent minutes.
Yeah.
Every time. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah, that's always how I like to play the game.
Good stuff. So Yanski, just to finish off, tell us then, as we prepare for next season, can we even think about next season already? I guess we can.
I started doing some scouting for the newly promoted side.
Of course you have. You've already started looking at Timo Pukki from Norwich, haven't you? Of course you have.
I'm already on the Norwich train, seeing what's going on down there.
Oh my God. Okay. so I'm not anywhere near as prepared as Sam. But tell us briefly, Yanski, who is going to be, do you think, your first name on your FPL 1920 season team sheet? And you get to that when the game's released in mid-July, whose price will you be checking first? Who's first in your team?
Liverpool players, Liverpool defenders. I mean, 6 of them in the FPL season of the team. What's not to like?
And if you were going to pick one of them, would you go Virgil or Trent or maybe even Joe Gomez as a bit of an outside bet? What do you think?
Or Alisson?
Yeah.
Sort of depends on the price rises. I mean, probably most of the Liverpool defenders will be 7 million next season.
I think so. Yeah, I agree.
So I have to check Joe Gomez there, and probably a bit cheaper. And but the thing that I'm most looking forward to is to get rid of the pep roulette thing. Hopefully.
I think the pep roulette will always be there.
I think it'll always be there. So listen, Yanski, thank you very much for joining. Sorry, what you wanted to make one last comment?
Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say that I don't want to repeat the 1 point Leroy Sané triple captain the double game week. So
don't trust Pep.
We will, I'm sure, in the video on Sunday, we will be talking about season highlights and lowlights, and the Sané 1 point triple captain in the game week where I think Aguero got like the hat trick, didn't he? And a lot of people had to choose between the two. Oh, that is definitely a low light. That is 100% a low light. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, that sort of defined my season a bit there.
It did.
That one week there. If I got that right, then I would have got way better results there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. We all feel your pain on the triple captain.
Well, listen, Yanski, thank you very much for joining us here on FPL Family. Congratulations on your Manager of the Month for May prize. Another Patreon prize, Sam. Another Patreon winner who has chosen a Liverpool shirt. Just saying, there's some great taste. You guys have got great taste in our Patreon community.
So
no doubt about it.
Franco a City shirt. Tracy
yes.
Yanski Liverpool shirts.
Yes.
Wow.
I'm looking forward to giving away more Liverpool shirts next
Where
year.
are the Spurs fans?
Come on, Spurs fans. Spurs patrons, we need you. Yanski, listen, thank you for joining us this evening on the FPL Family. Well done this season, and look forward to speaking with you again next season when it all kicks off back in July. So thanks for joining us.
Thank you. Been a pleasure.
Cheers.
Cheers.
See you.
Bye-bye.
Okay, there we go. That was Yanski, our manager of... So I did that. Yanski, that was weird, wasn't it? That was Yanski, our manager of the month for May. I'm excited to hear your stats in a minute. But that was Yanski, our manager of the month for May. Absolutely sensational performance. Come out at a bit of an average game week 1, and then game week 2, game week 38, the second game week in May. absolutely blew the doors off it. So well done, Yanski, and thank you for giving up your time and coming and sharing your story and talking about your season here on FPL Family. Thank you for doing that.
We actually did manage to get it to work first time.
Well, I feel like we're getting better at it now. I feel we haven't quite cracked the whole Skype live thing, have we?
No, but we're going to practice that this summer.
We are going to practice that, so we have live people talking, people
Yes.
Skype calling
There
live
won't be any
on the
non-live
show.
people on the show.
That has happened. So Frank, I mean, it worked with Frank, didn't it? It worked.
It did
But
work
then
with
with
Frank.
Gareth and with Tracy and now with Yanski, we've had to do it pre-recorded
Well,
because
Gareth
I feel
was a
like
bit different anyway because it was so late at night or early in the morning.
something like that. Yeah, something like that. But
But
listen,
these last
when
two-
we were on the Wildcats on Thursday, JNO, he's got it. He knows how it works. So I've got him on speed dial. He's gonna sort us out. He knows how it works.
Okay.
Coming next season, guys. Hopefully, fingers crossed if the technology works. Listen, where do we go to? One of the things that I was talking to Yanski about on that video was who's his first name on his team sheet for next season. Any thoughts on that very quickly before we get on to the championship teams that are coming up? First name on your team sheet, so maybe a top 3 that you'll be looking out for?
Sterling.
Yes, okay, yeah.
I think my strategy is going to be to get my big heavy hitters in and then have them secured and then work out how I just fill the other places.
Right.
So people I'm going to definitely want are going to be the likes of Sterling. Kane's an interesting one because it's August. So
What do you think Kane's price is going to be next season? Because what did he start this season at? 12.5?
Yeah.
He can't possibly start the season at 12.5 again.
Well, no, because he's been injured for half of it.
Yeah, being a 12.5 forward means you have got to win the Golden Boot and be the top FPL point scorer to maintain that level, surely. So is Kane going to suffer a bit of a price drop next year, do you think? Maybe 11.5, maybe 12? What do you think?
I doubt 11.5 because he's still got, 16 goals this season. He's still ranking in the Golden Boot listing. So it's not like he did nothing. And had he not been injured, he probably would have been up there or thereabouts. But
we see it though. We see it when players get injured and they don't score as many FPL points. They do take a bit of a backward step the following season.
Yeah, but I don't see it being a whole million. That feels a lot. Half, maybe.
It does for someone of Kane's
He's
FPL
got
pedigree. Yeah,
so,
sure. Okay.
but I don't... I normally have Kane first of all straight in my team, but might wait this year and just let August play out and then go for him in September.
Kane, Sterling, and who else are you looking out for?
As Yanski was saying, I suppose one of the Liverpool defenders, but I'll also be keeping a close eye on people like Son because someone's got to score the Spurs goal. It's all going to depend on what the fixtures look like for August, really, isn't it? Who's got nice fixtures at the beginning of the season?
Well, one of the things I mentioned on the Wildcats the other night was that I thought that Spurs, having finished 4th, would have to play a Champions League qualifier to get into the group stage, and therefore their season would start quite early. Would we get a bit of, can't believe we're saying it already, a bit of maybe rotation around the first couple of game weeks? But you quite rightly said, or maybe I think Brett maybe on the Wildcats said, that's not the case.
No,
not the case. Spurs don't have to play that qualifier. They are straight in with Liverpool, City, and indeed Chelsea, straight into the group stage.
We may have to play the Super Cup though.
So that's another thing to look out for. So one of our teams, either Liverpool or Spurs, is probably going to be playing.
Well,
one of them will be playing
Arsenal
the Super
or Chelsea.
Cup, which is against Arsenal or Chelsea, probably somewhere in Japan or something, because that's where they tend to hold these Super Cups.
It is in Japan.
Is it in Japan?
Yeah.
Okay, well, listen, I think
it's in Japan.
I don't know too much about it, guys, but just be aware that at some stage...
It's in August.
Champions League qualifier is not such a big deal, but there is this weird kind of Super Cup, which is the winners of the Champions League against the winners of the Europa League.
And then whoever wins that's got the other tournament in November.
Which is the World Club Cup, isn't it? Which is in November, which we haven't got to worry about too much at the start of the season.
But it will be an English team.
But it will be an English team. So there's all these Premier League teams that are going to have these kind of weird, maybe protracted starts to the season. So Kane and Sterling definitely radar, and then a Liverpool defender of some description.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I noticed Liverpool being linked with Delete again today. That kid is amazing. I would love him. One player I would love us to sign over the summer, it would be Delete. I think he looks absolutely sensational. The 3 for me that I'll be looking out for, Mr. Aubameyang I'll be looking out for. Mr. Aubameyang, Golden Boot, 22 goals this season, joint with Salah and joint with Mane, 22 goals this season. Also missed 23 big chances, missed the most big chances of any player in the game.
All right, Stat Manley.
So imagine what would happen if he'd have actually bagged a few more of those, right? So the potential... We've always, I think in these live streams over the course of this season, we have spoken a lot about Aubameyang's XG. I feel like that has been a theme. I feel like we've spoken about that a few times.
Isn't it?
So Aubameyang's expected goals and his potential for goals, I think is very, very high. So,
do you think it'd be really frustrating to own? That's why I've not had him. I feel like it'd be a real frustration to me.
I don't know. I mean, all eyes on what happens to Arsenal over the summer, right? If they need to sign a couple of defenders, that's for sure. They need to hold on to the likes of Lacazette, because I don't know if you know, did you notice that glitch on the Barcelona website?
No.
So on the Barcelona website, guys, I don't know if you've seen this, but there's a couple of screenshots on Twitter where a couple of, let's just call them test pages from the Barcelona website were put out onto the official website accidentally, and one of them was for Barcelona new player Alexandre Lacazette.
What?
Yes, absolutely, and it was his profile and everything. So as all the Arsenal fans were just like, what the hell? What the hell?
Was that a serious thing they did?
Genuinely happened. So, listen, it could be Barcelona being incredibly skullduggerous with their transfer shenanigans, or it could just be a genuine mistake from somebody at Barcelona. But nevertheless, it happened. So for me, I will absolutely be looking for Aubameyang's price next season. You're flabbergasted by that, aren't you? I can tell.
I can't believe that can happen in this day and age. How does that happen?
Well, isn't it the sort of thing that they would make happen so that it makes a bit of a buzz on Twitter?
But that's what I mean. Like, surely it can't be an accident. That can't have happened accidentally.
Listen,
that guy will be fired if that's happened accidentally. That has happened on purpose.
Well, listen, so that is...
Probably just to stir the pot.
It did happen. I'm pretty sure I didn't dream it, guys. Go and look on Twitter and you'll find it somewhere. The Barcelona website did have a profile, a Barcelona player profile for Alex Lacazette on their website.
Did they superimpose him into a Barcelona shirt and everything?
No, it was a silhouette, but it had Lacazette in big writing at the back. It was all Barcelona colours. Proper webpage.
Whoa!
Genuine. So,
my mind has been blown by that.
So that happened.
Maybe we should do that. Maybe Spurs should do that. Just start putting out pages for people that we fancy signing. I love that as an idea. Like, you can't go and tap them up, but just accidentally leak a page with their name on it so they come and tap you up.
Could be. But look, there's lots. I think lots is going to happen over the summer at Arsenal. As Josh, good evening, Josh Aram. He's saying, is Zaha Arsenal bound? So yes, we have to look out for where it looks like Zaha probably going to go. I would say it's more or less nailed on to leave Crystal Palace for next season. So listen, Arsenal is one of the places he could go. As is, I think you pronounce his name Ziyech or Ziyech. The young guy, Ajax. So I say young guy, he's like 22, 23 now, which in the grand scheme of things at Ajax is actually not that young. But he's looking like he's going to leave. I think the club has also come out and said, Ajax have come out and said, he is going to leave.
But they said to him, they made him promises, didn't they, at the beginning of the season? There were promises, and if they did, and then he would be allowed to leave at the end of the season.
Let's see.
So, that's what the club said.
Arsenal will absolutely have their eyes on a player like that. He's absolutely the sort of player that would fit in well at Arsenal. Absolutely the sort of player.
Well, it depends. Is Ozil still going to be the captain? Because I don't see him inspiring anyone.
Well, listen, he's come out and said his favourite player is Ozil. He's his favourite player in the world. Ziyech's favourite player is Ozil. It's his dream to play with Ozil.
How can Ozil be anyone's favourite player? Did you see him? Standing there.
You need to get on Twitter, Sam. You're missing all of these rumours.
He's insulting.
Missing all of these rumours.
That man is an insult to common decency. The young kids have come out, they've won stuff. Doesn't even give him a clap. I think he's a disgrace myself.
So, Aubameyang, one of the ones that I'll be looking out for next season. Kevin De Bruyne, one that I will absolutely be looking out for next season.
On fire in that cup final yesterday when he came on.
Absolutely was. I noticed that they gave him man of the match. Played about 40 minutes in that game. In a game where Sterling got 2/3 goals. Kevin De Bruyne got man of the match. And actually he came on and...
He was outstanding when he came on.
He's just such a great player. Such a great player. And I think, I'd be really interested to see what his price is for next season. Do you think he gets a bit of a price reduction given the amount he's played this season, or do you think they maybe stick?
I think they'll hold him.
I can't see that it goes up.
No, but
I can't see that.
But what I do think it will mean is that both Sterling and KDB will continue to be differentials next season because people will split the money across the City's assets. So
I think you could be right.
So they'll be where they shouldn't be. The City midfielders will be differentials next season.
Okay, I think I will go with you on that. I saw a super chat, I think, which was backing what I was saying, actually. Yes, KDB, Steve Wynyard. Thank you, Steve, for the super chat. KDB, due a price cut as well, he's saying. Yes, I think you're possibly right. I think worst case, they hold his price.
Yeah.
Worst case, I think. And on that basis, going to be a very, very good asset, I think. And of course, I'll be looking out for Liverpool prices. I'll be looking to see what they do with Mo Salah, clearly. I think this time last season, we're all sitting here thinking, well, is this a one-season wonder for Mo? Is he a one-season wonder? And what's his price going to be like for next season? Well, I think he's proved that although he wasn't quite as explosive as he was in his first season, still far and away won FPL in terms of the points that he scored. Golden Boot, Loads of assists as well. Top for touches in the box amongst any player in the league this year. So a threat, a bona fide threat, and you get what you pay for with Mo. So I'm expecting them to hold his price as well. Do you expect his price to go up, down, or stay? What do you think?
No, I don't think they can put it up. Not because I don't think he's been better than last season, so I don't think they can go up, but I think they'll hold.
Yeah, an interesting point there from Andrew in the live chat. Thank you, Andrew Roper. He's saying, could Salah be a forward, Lee? Yes, he could. Yes, he could. I think that is one thing that they might do.
And if they do that, though, I think that makes him less of a fantasy asset because there's...
Well, yes, it does, yeah.
There's obviously no clean sheet bonus. There's less points per goal. That makes Mane, for me, a better asset. Or Firmino still a better asset than Salah because Firmino's going to be that much cheaper than Salah.
If they put Salah as a forward, they must then put Mane as a forward.
Well, they can't have Salah, Mane and Firmino all as Liverpool strikers.
Well, listen, they play pretty much exactly the same position. They score the same. They have scored the same amount of goals this season, and they get in the same sorts of areas. They just play on different wings. If Salah's a forward, is Mane a forward?
I just can't see how they can do it.
Can't see it. Okay, listen. So those are my three: Salah, Aubameyang, and Kevin De Bruyne. Absolutely on my watch list. Let's talk about, so those are the big hitters. Those ones we'll obviously be looking out for. What about the teams that are coming up, Sam? What about the players that none of us know about? And if you've got any more stats on Tim Krul, we would welcome them.
I don't have any more on Tim Krul. I only wrote him down because I thought it would be funny.
Okay, very good.
We use their keeper, but...
Let us know what insights...
I do have actually some goals conceded stats, so I could go
Okay, all right. Well, let's hear what you think of the two teams that are coming up and remind us who they are. Sheffield United and... Norwich and Sheffield United.
Let's be having you!
Norwich, who not so long ago were in the Premier League, I guess about 2, 3, maybe 4 years ago, something like that. Sheffield United, though... I remember collecting the Sheffield United Panini stickers in the mid-90s.
How old are you now?
I can't remember the last time Sheffield United were in the Premier League. It's got to be 10 or 15 years ago. So fair play to the Blades for making it back up. And I'm also interested to hear if you've got any views on either Derby County or Aston Villa. Maybe we'll get those at a bit of a later date. But for now, let's hear what you've got to say about the two that are coming up.
Okay, so... basically what I did was I went through and I tried to find out some information about each of the sides in terms of how many goals they'd scored, how many goals they conceded, all of that sort of stuff, so that we could work out. Then I also looked at who takes their penalties, because given it's a VAR season, I thought that might be quite useful. And then I just picked out a couple of players from each team, including the keepers, hence why Tim Krul is there, just to kind of talk about. So in terms of Sheffield United, scored 78 goals in the Championship last season, conceded 41, which means that they, on average, concede a goal every 101 minutes. So in terms of defenders, they offer a better option than Norwich, who concede a goal every 73 minutes.
Okay.
So in terms of defensive units, the Sheffield United backline is...
Sheffield United are slightly more solid than Norwich.
Well, they're 30 minutes per goal more solid.
Yeah, in the Championship.
In the Championship, of course. So, however, if they're a better side defensively in the Championship, then they're likely to be a better side in the Premier League.
So give me some feels on any defenders that post some nice attacking stats then from either of those sides, because I don't think any of us are going to be diving on Norwich or Sheffield United looking at clean sheets. But I can think of one fullback at Sheffield United in particular who posts some good stats.
So, well, first of all, the Sheffield United keeper, I think, offers a good option.
Okay.
So, Dean Henderson, he is a Manchester United keeper. He's been on loan at Sheffield United this season.
They might want him back.
Apparently, Solskjaer, because I looked a lot about this, Solskjaer has said that another season playing on loan will be good for him, because they've obviously got a couple of strikers.
Okay, so they're not looking to recall him then.
But what they have said is that he can't sign a new loan contract because he's out of contract with Man United at the end of next season, and they won't allow him to sign a new loan deal until he's signed a new contract at United.
Okay.
So there has to be that happening first. So it's not guaranteed that this kid is going to play in the Premier League next season. However, he was the Golden Glove winner in the Championship.
Okay.
Also got an assist last season.
Wow, all right.
And never got booked either. So in terms of keeper points, that's always quite useful, isn't it? Because,
if he's coming in at if he does come in at a 4.0 or probably more likely a 4.5, I guess he's 4.5. If he's got a bit of pedigree from the Championship, going to be a 4.5.
But might be a nice enabler for the rest of your team.
Could be. Yeah, could be.
They have got another keeper, but he didn't play at all last season. So I think in terms of keeping options,
as a cheap option, he might be decent.
Have you got anything on Ender Stevens? I'd be keen to hear about him because a lot of talk on Twitter this week about Ender Stevens being the new Doherty or, he's the one to really look out for from Sheffield United's backline, given that he likes to get forward and gets into nice positions.
Yeah, so Ender Stevens, he made 45 appearances last season, got 4 goals and 6 assists. Plays on the left.
4 goals and 6 assists.
Yeah.
Nice stats. All right, very good.
Plays on the left, but also quite a lot of the time plays in left midfield.
Right.
So it depends for me on where the game put him. If they put him as a defender, then that makes him it makes him less of an option. If they rank him as a midfielder, then potentially that makes him a really nice option because he is quite often getting forward.
Surely if he's a defender, that makes him a better option, right? Because he's then got the possibility of clean sheets.
I don't know, because it depends where he's going to play, doesn't it? If he's going to play defensively, I don't know how many clean sheets Sheffield United will keep against. They've been good in the Championship at keeping clean sheets. What we've seen from the clubs that have come up in the last couple of seasons isn't apart from Wolves, who've been good defensively. We've not really seen that.
But surely he's a better option if he's classed as a defender because he's going to get forward, get those goals and assists, but also will get a clean sheet if Sheffield United keep one.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
But I take your point. If it depends.
It depends where they rank him in the game, and I think he's one to keep an eye on. Another one that's sort of similar to Ender Stevens is Oliver Norwood. Got 3 goals and 8 assists this season. He plays
3 goals and 8 assists.
Yeah, he's a central defender. Sometimes plays central midfield. This kid is
8 assists for a centre half.
Yeah, this kid is particularly good for his passing accuracy is ridiculous. So in terms of BPS, if he keeps clean sheets, he should be on for some decent BPS as well.
Okay, let's just pause for a second and see what you guys are saying. See if you've got any Sheffield United knowledge in the live chat here. Dan is saying FPL chancer. I think we'll all end up owning Sheffield United defenders at some point. You can see them churning out a few 1-0 home wins, which is the staple, isn't it? It's the staple of any team coming up. You've got to churn out those home wins to nil, right?
If you look at their results from last season, that is how they got promoted. They didn't win goals by a lot of goals, but they didn't concede that as many.
Okay, Neil Craston is saying Ender Stevens 4 goals came in the final few games of the season. So I don't know, it'd be interesting to know whether Sheffield United maybe changed the system up a little bit towards the end. Maybe they shoved Ender Stevens into that left midfield slot, as you said, rather than at the back. So maybe he got forward and a bit more freedom to score those goals. So it'd be interesting to know what happened for Ender Stevens to start scoring those 4 goals towards the end of the last season.
The other thing about Oliver Norwood is he did take one of their penalties last season.
Okay.
So they got 7 penalties over the course of last season. Most of them were taken by the 2 centre forwards, so Sharp and McGoldrich, who I can talk about in a minute, but Norwich took one of them.
Okay, as he is saying, Sheffield United, and this is great, guys. I know very little about Sheffield United, so this is really good. Sheffield United use their centre backs in overlapping roles, makes them very unique. That does sound very unique. I've not seen centre halves play in overlapping roles at all. But if you've got your man there, Norwood, who's getting 8 assists and 3 goals in 43 appearances last season, they've got to have a pretty unique system, I would have thought.
He's going to score well in the BPS stuff. If his passing accuracy is good, he will score well if they keep clean sheets.
All right. Anything else from Sheffield United?
So they've got two centre forwards. Billy Sharp, who's their captain.
Yeah, I think he could be a favourite.
Yeah, 33 appearances in which he got 23 goals and 4 assists.
23 goals, so okay, very good.
So he was decent last season. He took 2 of their penalties. He only takes penalties when McGoldrich isn't on the pitch, though. So Sharp took 2. He did miss one of them, so he's only got 50% accuracy rate. McGoldrich, 36 appearances, 15 goals and 4 assists. And
where does he play, McGoldrich?
He's another forward, but occasionally plays attacking midfield.
Okay.
He's much better at home. Of his 15 goals, 8 of them came at home and 3 of his assists came at home. He also took 4 penalties, which he missed 1.
The guys are saying Billy Sharp is interesting. He's their talisman. If they want a go-to player, Billy Sharp is the one.
He's their captain.
Don't know much about him. Is he an international guy? Does he play international football, Billy Sharp?
He has played international football. I think he's had a couple of caps. But
23 goals and 4 assists cannot be sniffed at. There's no doubt about it.
So there are, for me, there's some quite nice options at Sheffield United.
Well, let's see how they get priced up.
Absolutely. And then they'll be all right. But yeah, McGoldrich might be a better option than Sharp, just purely on the fact that he's going to be on penalties if he's on the pitch, and with VAR the way it is next season, He might
Could
be a
get
good
interesting.
one.
Could
That's
get
where
interesting.
Henderson
All right.
might be quite a good
Talk us
keeper.
through Norwich then, the boys
Okay,
from
Norwich.
East Anglia. Anybody?
Derby, apparently.
The Spurs derby, yeah, I must admit that every time Norwich come into the Premier League, they always talk about the Spurs being their closest team and their local derby, but it's only because they're miles out east, right?
No, it's weird.
Probably closer to Yanski and the folks in Scandinavia than they are to North London, frankly. But
yeah.
talk us through the Norwich City options that you've dug up then.
Okay, so Norwich City, they got 93 goals last season, 57 they conceded. They scored a goal every 45 minutes, so in terms of going forward, they offer some good attacking returns, but they do concede a lot more often. On average, they score 2 goals a game, but concede 1.25. In terms of penalties, they are terrible at penalties. So
really?
So they've had
Who takes them?
They've had 6 penalties this season. They've missed them all apart from one.
Wow.
So they've had McLean's taken one. Stippleman, I think he's called. Stippleman?
Yeah.
Something like that. He's taken one and missed it. This chap, Pookie?
No, Timo Pookie, yeah.
Yeah, he's missed one. Then the one guy that scored one, Varanic, he scored one, missed one, so he's only got 50% right. And then there's this kid, Jordan Rose, who's taken one.
So therein lies the problem with Norwich.
So
they don't have a recognised penalty taker. Yeah, okay.
So whoever wants it, I think, takes it. Or I don't know if they have I don't know enough to know whether they have a you win it, you take it rule or anything like that.
Who knows?
But it seems to be a different bloke every week.
But attacking wise, they do score a few goals. They know where the net is.
They do. So there's this Timu. How do you say his surname?
Timo Pookie, I think you pronounce it, yeah.
Yeah, so he scored 0.68 goals per game last season.
Yeah, he's causing a bit of Twitter buzz in the FPL community.
So 43 appearances, 29 goals, 9 assists. Plays on the right, attacking midfield
29 goals, 9 assists from midfield.
Well, he either plays forward or on the right, attacking mid.
Okay. Anybody know anything about Timo Pookie? Let us know, guys. Is he going to be a forward or is he going to be a midfielder? If he's a midfielder, posting those sorts of stats, he's one to have a look at, isn't he, surely? 29 goals.
Right, so and then another one. So Marco, I think he's Stiperman. 39 appearances, 9 goals, 6 assists. He is a left defensive / midfielder. So again, it depends where they put him in the game as to whether he's going to be that useful. He is particularly good at laying off the ball and putting crosses in, so he could be really useful in terms of winning if VAR becomes a real thing that we're expecting it to.
Okay.
If he's putting in a lot of crosses, he could get a lot of assists from that point of view. He probably
sounds a bit like a Ruben Neves sort of player.
Potentially,
or an
yes.
Andre Gomez sort of thing.
He's got very little discipline, though. That was one of the things I read about him. He concedes a lot of fouls. So
he's the Roy Keane in there in the middle, is he?
Yeah,
okay,
I think so. So he might not be that great for BPS, but you know, it is what it is. You can't have everything, can you? And another central midfielder, Zimmerman, plays again in the centre. 39 appearances, 2 goals, 2 assists. So these guys, they do have some good defensive options. And then another one that I picked out. Oh God, now I don't know how to say this.
You're going to say Emi Buendia, aren't you?
Yes, I am.
Yes, he's absolutely causing a bit of a buzz, and certainly Charlie in the live chat.
Yeah.
Buendia, talk to us about Buendia, because a lot of focus on the Norwich team is on Timo Pookie, nearly saying Pookie all depends on his position and price.
Yeah, it does.
And you guys are saying, there's another nice comment about Pookie. Liam Riss says Pookie's essential. He's the next Gabbiadini.
Put that in your Slack title, please, Liam.
So there we go. I think Timo Pookie is going to get all of the attention, all of the love ahead of the new FPL season. But we should not forget Emi Buendia, because he looks like a proper player as well.
Yeah, now he made 35 appearances last season, 8 goals, 12 assists. Plays on the attack. He's a right midfielder, attacking right midfielder. He is 22, so he is quite young within the Norwich team.
Okay.
He's got, I think he got 6 yellows and a red last season. So defensively, in terms of one of the things
puts himself about a bit.
He does. One of the things I read about him is that he can get a bit hot-headed sometimes. Okay. So that might be something to watch. But he ranks really highly in terms of passing accuracy. He puts in a lot of key passes for their goals. There is a bit of assist stuff going on with him sometimes.
He sounds a bit like a Richarlison.
Potentially, yeah. I think he could be.
Got a goal, but also got a headbutt in him.
Yeah. But this kid also makes really good. He's good at tracking back, so he makes a lot of defensive contributions. So that will give you some BPS potential as well. Personally, I really like the sound of him. Having read about him, I think he will be a midfielder in the game, because he doesn't really play anywhere else. It's just attacking right. So I think he will offer a nice differential pick.
Steve Wynyard is saying Buendia, if cheap, maybe, But the disciplinary stuff, yeah,
He
I'm with
will
you on
be
that,
cheap.
Steve. I'm with you.
I think these players will be cheap. I don't see them being expensive. If you look at even the Wolves side that were brilliant in the Championship the season before, when they came up, they weren't a lot of money. Even the likes of Jimenez and Jota.
They come in and started at nice prices.
They were
didn't
really cheap at the beginning, and they enabled the rest of us. They enabled us to grow our teams in the way that they did because they took on so much value over the course of the season. I think Norwich, Sheffield United, and either Aston Villa or Derby, depending upon who we come up, will offer that same potential next season.
Very nice. All right, so if you had to pick
And Tim
one...
Krul, of course.
And of course Tim Krul. Yeah. Of course Tim Krul. Thank you for that. That's very good. I like that insight. Yeah. If there was one player from each of those sides that you'd place an FPL bet on right now, where would you go, do you think?
I think I'm going to go Oliver Norwood at the back. I think he looks really good. I think he offers good
all
potential.
Depends on price and positioning. I understand all that. Yeah,
but then remember, I picked out Sean Morrison last season, who didn't come good till quite near the end. But I also really do like Dean Henderson as well. If he signs another loan contract at Sheffield United, and then Timu Pukki.
Yeah, it depends what his class does, right?
Yeah, it depends where he put him.
Because I think he played, I was just seeing in the live chat, he played centre forward for Celtic and was not particularly very good for a few years, Timo Pukki. So I think if he's playing a more midfield style role for Norwich and then in FPL he's a midfielder, then maybe he's an option. So let's see.
Again, it goes back to where the game decides to rank these players and what position they put them in, and then for us that will enable us to kind of think about which ones of these are the better options.
Nice. All right. Well, listen, if I had to pick a couple, I think I would pick on Ender Stevens and Timo Pukki. I think those are the two that I have my eye on. But I must admit, without knowing a lot about Emi Buendia, the amount of love that he's getting on Twitter, the fact that you've picked him out there, I need to have a little look at this guy and see if he is the real deal and whether he's going to be any good.
His temper this season, it's whether he comes out a bit overexcited because he's in the Premier League.
All too easy to lose your head in the Premier League, isn't it? All too easy
as
sometimes as a young player.
Particularly if he starts well. If he starts well for the first couple of games, it's easy to kind of get lost in the Premier League.
Very good. All right, well, listen, we are going to talk about a couple more things. We're going to do our pre-season predictions right now in a second, and we're going to talk about season highlights for you, Sam, season lowlights, etc., etc. And then we're going to do the polls, and then we're going to wrap up, guys. So that's it. So let's have a look at these pre-season predictions. Who do you want to go first, me or you?
You do yours.
Should I do mine first?
Go on.
Okay, guys, so for those that I'm really looking forward to this, I think I'm okay. So back at the beginning of the season, in game week 1, we wrote down.
I like the fact that we drew on the back just to make sure that
make sure that no one was going to open these. So at the beginning of the season, game week 1, or even before game week 1, we put in here top 4, bottom 3, and golden boot winner. Time to find out.
Who did you relegate?
Time to find out whether we know what the hell we're talking about.
Put them in order as well.
Or whether we are just completely winging it every single week here on FPL Family. Let's find out. Here we go. Let's find out. These are my pre-season predictions, guys. My pre-season predictions.
Go on, what'd you put? Top 4.
Oh, God. I'm in trouble on one of them.
Top 4, go on.
I'm in trouble on one of them.
Because you didn't have Spurs in there, I bet.
Top 4,
go
my
on.
prediction.
Yeah.
Man City 1.
Okay, yeah.
Liverpool 2nd.
Yeah, okay.
Didn't believe in my boys, did I?
Well.
Manchester United 3rd.
Where were Spurs?
Spurs 4.
Okay, well, you got us right.
3 out of 4 ain't bad. 3 out of 4 ain't bad.
Where were Chelsea, though? Relegated?
I didn't fancy Chelsea to do well under Sarri.
Did you relegate them?
They're not relegated. That's next season's predictions without Hazard. So, Man United fans, there you go. Put your 3rd, and you've ended up 6th for whatever it was. So there we go. My predictions were City, Liverpool, Man U, and then Spurs. So I'm not bad there. I'm not bad, other than Chelsea and Man U.
Go on then.
Golden boot.
Yeah.
Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Okay, well you can have that.
Of course I can have that.
I mean,
he got the golden boot.
So you didn't get that quite right, did
What do you mean I can have that? Of course I can have that. You got it. I've got it right. Of course I can have it. Golden boot. Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Bottom 3, 20th.
So bottom, go on.
Bottom of the league this season. I predicted Cardiff City.
They won't like you for that.
19th I predicted Huddersfield.
Oh, well, they'll like you for that. You put them up a bit.
Put them up a bit. 18th I predicted
Who?
Watford.
Watford? They've not been anywhere near the bottom 3 all season.
They've had a great season. Absolutely great season.
They've made the cup final.
There it
They've
is,
been
guys.
nowhere near the bottom 3 and you've relegated them.
Relegated. I don't know if you guys can see that. I relegated. Need to go into the OBS. Hold on. I relegated
You relegated
Watford.
Crumbs.
Joe, for everybody else, all the Watford fans that are watching, I deeply, deeply apologise. Watford relegated, according to my predictions. I don't think that's too bad.
Apparently didn't make any. There we go.
I don't think that's too bad. Guys, I give myself 8 out of 10 for that. I don't think that's too bad. Go on, Sam. Who did you say was... Oh, God. Are you in trouble here? If you've relegated Watford as well, Joe's never coming back.
No, I haven't.
Right, top 4. Who was first? Champions.
Man City.
Man City champions. Second place.
Spurs.
Shut up. Shut up, you put Spurs second.
Spurs second.
Spurs second. Where are the goggles? That is ridiculous.
Why is it?
Spurs second.
We were there for a lot of the season. And then we didn't sign anyone.
Man City first. Spurs second. Third place.
Liverpool.
Good. Fourth place.
Man United.
I know. I said it. You know, I thought they were going to have a good season.
I don't know why we thought that though, because it was always Mourinho's third season. Why didn't we think it's Mourinho's third season? They're going to fall off a bus.
I don't know. I mean, you know, Alexis Sanchez plays a piano, and we all think he's the one, don't we? I think that was. I'm amazed. I'm amazed at what's happened to Alexis Sanchez's career. What the hell's happened to this guy this year? Absolutely incredible. So, I thought that he and a couple of other additions were going to make United a force, but there we go. So you were City, Spurs, Liverpool, Man United.
Yeah.
Golden Boot, Sam. Your prediction at the beginning of the season, Golden Boot.
Well, I wrote Kane, obviously, and actually wrote the word obviously.
For goodness sake.
But I genuinely think if he hadn't been injured for half the season, that might have not been that far off.
Spurs second with Kane.
Yeah.
It's good to see that even in episode 60, you are true to form with your season this year in FPL Family and being completely Spurs biased.
I'll write the same again next season.
What, Kane, obviously?
Yeah.
So Golden Boot Kane, that is a fail.
Champions,
FPL Family.
Spurs,
get the goggles
season.
off. Josh is saying get the goggles
off.
off.
Josh.
Look,
it's you lot that have let me down. I put United in the top 4.
Let's see. John Chappell, Spurs was second this season. That was your prediction. Yeah, let's see what else you guys are saying. Spurs goggles, Sam Neal is saying. Steve Wynyard, Spurs goggles. Steve Wynyard, who doesn't even need a second invitation to have a go at you and your Spurs goggles, let's face it. Rushil saying your handwriting is awful, Lee. Yes, it is, Rushil. Yes, it is. Joe is heartbroken, Josh is saying.
I thought that would look quite good for you, your handwriting on that sheet. Yeah.
Rushil, I've never seen Lee go so mad. He's out of control today. Yeah, it's end of season itis. End of season itis. Joe will kill you, Lee. Neil is saying. Josh telling Watford smiley face. Is very good.
Has Joe actually left?
Dan saying, of course I can have that. Can't believe you said to my Golden Boot Aubameyang prediction. Yeah, I'll give you that. Damn right.
Well, he did share it. You didn't put that he'd share it, did you?
Golden Boot, Sam.
I can't believe you didn't put Salah.
Right. Relegation. Who did you relegate at the beginning of the season? 20th place. Bottom of the league, Sam.
I also went Cardiff.
Cardiff. We had absolutely no faith whatsoever in Cardiff City.
Yeah, I started the season with Sean Morrison.
Yet you game week 1 team had Sean Morrison in it. Bloody goodness me. So neither of us had any faith in Cardiff. And to be fair to Cardiff City, they, I think, despite going down in 18th, exceeded expectations.
I actually moved them. I had them in 18th originally and crossed it out and put them into 20th.
Well, there we go. 20th. Both of us had Cardiff, rock bottom. 19th this season. Who did you have?
Huddersfield.
Huddersfield. I think those two were more or less destined for the bin, weren't they? I think, yeah. So Huddersfield 19th. 18th, and this is where it gets interesting, where it got interesting for me. Who else did you relegate?
Another big side, but not Watford.
Who have you relegated?
Newcastle.
Newcastle United.
And they were down there for a long time.
To be fair, until they got their act together.
For a long time. I thought I was going to get it all right.
That is in terms of...
And then they came out of it.
In terms of quality of shout, it's a better shout than my Watford shout, but only because the Watford shout is so bad.
Yeah, I mean, Newcastle were down there for ages, and I genuinely thought they were going to get relegated for a long part of the season.
With all the Mike Ashley stuff.
It was like February, March, wasn't it, that they turned it around and then they climbed.
Well, as the guys are quite rightly saying, let's see if you can see that in the OBS. Here we go. Let's see that.
My writing's not much better than Lee's, but there you are.
My writing's pretty good. It's pretty good. So there we go, guys. Those were our predictions.
I enjoyed that. Let's do that again.
Steve Wynyard is saying, never doubt Rafa Sam, never doubt Rafa.
No, you're right, Steve.
Stealth Panda saying, how dare you insult Rafa Sam?
It wasn't Rafa that I thought was going to be a problem. It was the lack of money, lack of investment. Just lack of
Everyone
everything.
right is saying Newcastle, Sam. Come on. Neil Craston is saying Newcastle. They had Rondon, Sam, and you still relegated him. How can you do this to them?
Did they have Rondon when we wrote this?
I don't know. I can't remember that far
Or
back.
did he come afterwards?
Genuinely
I
can't remember that
But let's
far
do
back.
that again this
That
season.
was good.
That was good fun.
That
I
was
enjoyed
good fun.
that.
So there we go. I both of us pretty badly wrong with our 18th suggestion, but outside of that, not bad.
We got the champions right.
Spurs second with Kane Golden Boot. Not sure if I'm having that.
I mean, that should have happened, really.
Not sure if I'm having that, to be honest with you.
That's next season. I've just gone a season early.
Go on then, a season early. Talk to me, Sam, before we wrap up for the season. Talk us through your highlights and lowlights, your favourite moment of the season. We talked on the Wildcat stream a lot about our best and worst moments of the season. So if you haven't yet caught the Wildcats video that we did a couple of weeks ago, go search, obviously watch the end of this, and then at the end of this, go and search for FPL Wildcats in the YouTube search bar and watch us from a couple of days ago. Lots of highlights and lowlights, but I'd like one highlight and one lowlight from you, Sam, for the season. What was what are you thinking?
And lowlight.
Yeah.
Highlight. This is a real personal one though, because it's I mean, it was just basically to do with you and I. But game week 19 was. I did briefly mention this on the Wildcats stream on Thursday, and then I went and looked it up. So game week 19 was my favourite game week of the season. It was the Boxing Day game week.
Yeah.
And if you remember, we went to watch it with my dad, and it was that game where it was a really, really high scoring game week. So Liverpool beat Newcastle 4-0 when they were about to get relegated. United won 3-1 versus Huddersfield. Spurs beat Bournemouth 5-0. Everton beat Burnley 5-1. It was really high scoring. Now my team, Dina got 2 goals, 3 bonus points. Anderson 2 goals, 3 bonus points. Wan-Bissaka, a clean sheet and 2 bonus points. Kane got a goal and he was my captain. Salah got a goal, an assist and a bonus point. And every time they went to somebody else on Sky Sports News, it was one of my players. And Lee was just getting more and more annoyed. I ended up with 80 that week and you had 46 because... and it was one of those game weeks where everything went wrong for you.
The 2 Dina goals. I remember that.
And
it's just so wrong.
And I actually remember at one point picking up the cushion off the sofa at my mum's and just throwing it at you because I was so excited by it. That was a particular highlight for me in our little rivalry that we have.
The guys are saying the Torreira bicycle kick has to be a moment.
I wrote that down as well. So game week 19 was my favourite game week. Torreira and his bicycle kick was another. And my other favourite moment was that Perez jammy pick in that double game week where
towards
he
the
only
end of the season.
Yeah,
yes,
he
very
only
nice.
had a single and he popped up. And that was another one. Low light. Sterling and triple captain Sterling when Pep dropped him.
Yeah, sad times that.
Cardiff and
sad
Fulham.
Times.
Cardiff and Fulham.
The fixtures were all there, but the roulette was hanging over them like a bad smell, wasn't it? As it always does.
That was
but
one.
But the fixtures were so good, you had to go triple captain.
And there was that moment with Kane versus Leicester where we got benched. Never benched Kane, does he? And he benched him. That was another low light
against the team that he likes to score against. Leicester, we'd all put a lot of faith
came on for a 1 point cameo and he was my captain.
Dear.
Hate 1 point cameos.
Dear.
But they're my highlights and lowlights. What about you?
Beautiful. So before we get to mine, Steve Wynyard is saying the highlights. Thank you for the super chat, Steve. He's saying the highlight of his season was trolling you, Sam. Absolutely love doing that.
There has been a lot of banter between us this season, Steve. I've enjoyed it too.
Very good banter,
In fact,
Steve.
I think I did write that in my highlights of the streams.
What, Steve's banter?
Yeah. Nonsense.
In highlights or lowlights?
Lowlights. No, I'm joking.
And the banter continues. And Steve's saying, so his highlight was trolling you, his lowlight was United trolling him.
United have trolled everyone.
Because every time we come on here to give you a bit of Spurs abuse, it was very easy to give it back as a United fan, wasn't it? Very easy to give it back.
To be fair though, United have trolled everyone this season.
They have, absolutely.
Including us. We both put them in the top 4.
There we go. So a couple of highlights and lowlights for me. For me, and I said this on the Wildcat stream a couple of nights ago, the Lucas Moura hat-trick from a few weeks ago was an absolute highlight for me. It was one of those where, and I didn't do this enough, this is one of my learning points for next season, is to, if I think that...
Listen to Sam.
Listen to you, but also my gut. My gut was telling me that, Moura's got to play. Your squad is very thin. He's got to play. Kane done his ankle the week before. Moura's got to come in and play. Now, where he's going to play, I don't know, but he's a threat when he does. And then he got the hat-trick, and it got me 21 points or something, and it was absolutely sensational, because no one else had got him in. I think people were piling onto Son and Eriksen and other players like that, and no one had really gone to Moura. And I did, and I was very happy to do that. 21 points, which was sensational. One of my lowlights, though, it has to be, I think it's a lowlight for a lot of people. This is the story of my season, by the way, guys. You can see on the left-hand side. Game week 1 started off pretty well with an overall rank of 108, and then game week 2 went up to 30k. That's about as good as it got, frankly. It's about as good as it got. There was a whole heap of red arrows here at a very important time of the season when you really need to be at least holding your rank. Game week 3 to 6 was particularly bad for me. Then there was a bit of a revival, then up, down.
Where was the bad game week?
But there's this game week here. Where I was having it was bad. I was doing bad up to game week 20, and then 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, all looking brilliant. There's a mini revival there from 269 to 101k on the cusp, Sam, on the cusp of the top 100k, which at that moment in the season would have been a really good foundation for me. And then I get a game week rank in game week 25 of 5.3 million. Game week 25, which was the game week.
What did I do in that game?
Where I captained Leroy Sané, and I think the world. Was this the game week where
everyone tripled him?
I don't know. Was it? I think it was the game week where maybe Aguero got a hat trick. But for whatever reason...
25? Game
week 25, yeah. Have a look at your game week 25. What happened? Because I'm pretty sure you wouldn't have got anywhere near as bad as that score.
I got 60.
60, yeah. So who in it done well? Son did
well. I captained Sané, though, look. Jimenez 9, Rashford. You didn't have Jimenez by that point, no?
Didn't have Jimenez.
Lindelof 7.
Oh, so I don't know. Who knows?
Pogba was performing at that point still.
Well, I had Pogba. Pogba was all right. It wasn't too bad. I mean, even Foster got me an 8, so I got 45 points, but a game week rank of 5.3 million. So even your 60, I suspect, was below average. Yeah, below average. So I don't know. I can't genuinely remember what happened, but at that moment in time, I did have Jimenez. I benched Jimenez.
What a plonker! I benched Doherty though.
Benching Jimenez. What the hell? What happened this game week? We've got to have a look. Man City 3, Arsenal, Aguero hat-trick. That was where it was, and I think a lot of people had Aguero for the hat-trick there. Chelsea 5, Huddersfield 0 with 2 for Hazard. Yeah, look at this, you see. So there were some big hitters getting some big scores, and I captained Sané for a 1-pointer. A game week rank of 5.3 million, which at a time when things were going very, very well, and I had a lot of good momentum, absolutely killed me.
What did you drop from to?
So I dropped from 101k to 206, more than doubled my rank. And from then on, as you know, it was a salvage operation to get back up to sort of 68k with there's a few highlights there between 32 and 37, which was chip season, where I got a few green arrows in a row, which looked pretty good. So overall, to finish in, 68k, where does that put me amongst my other ranks? So it's not bad. It's fine, right? It's not the best, but it's also not the worst. Not the best, but not the worst. What is that? I've got 83 before. There's last season, which was by far and away my worst season. So yes, I'm sort of okay with it. It was a bit of a swan song towards the end, salvage something from the jaws of defeat. So there we go. But that game week was particularly bad. Another moment that I remember, which was particularly bad, was in game week 26 when Kolasinac was playing Huddersfield, and I mentioned this again a couple of days ago on the Wildcats.
Yeah.
On for a clean sheet and an assist, was looking very, very good for a nice 10 to 12 points. Scored an OG in like the 92nd minute or something, and literally no one cared. Arsenal didn't care. They were a bit like, oh, okay, the clean sheet's gone, but they were 2 or 3 up. Didn't really matter. But the whole of the FPL community that owned Kolasinac was just like, oh my god, I can't. So there he went from like 10 to 12 points down to 1 or 2. A real proper FPL moment. Absolutely horrible moment. But there we go. I mean, genuinely felt like it was a tough season. I felt it was a really tough season this year.
It
wasn't until the chip season kicked in that I started to recover to something that I wanted to be.
I think the budget thing it took its toll early on in the season this year. So it was making sure you were on the right cheapies. And as soon as you worked out that it should be the Wolves ones and not the other randomers that I had at the beginning of the season, it became a bit easier for a while.
I think you're spot on.
And then I just had a nightmare over... I don't even know what caused it. I just had a bit of a nightmare for a few weeks.
Let's have a look at a few super chats that have come in. One from the Captain's Pick podcast. Jeff, thank you very much.
Hey, Jeff.
Congrats on the season, fam, he says. Question, got my best ever points total this season, but finished 110k places. Worse than last year. Good season or bad?
That's actually the same as me.
Nice
I got my
question.
highest ever point score this season.
So are you considering that progress or not?
Yeah, because I think...
Has to be, right?
I mean, last year I was 11k. This year 26k. But a good 40 points ahead of my previous best in terms of point score. So I think it is progress. I think, that shows that I made some better decisions with my players. It shows that the game has got harder. It's just that there's more people playing it.
The game has got harder and bigger. The game is getting bigger every year.
Every year it gets bigger. And so that what would be really interesting is to work, and we can't do it because we don't know how many players played the game every season, is to work out where percentage where you were against the amount of people in the game, because that would be you could then measure it. But I think you'll find that actually, for me, there isn't much difference in percentage between my 11k finish last year and my 26k finish this season. I don't think there'll be a lot in that.
No, I think you're right. So I think Jeff, you can call that a victory. You should absolutely call that a win. Absolutely call that a win. Thank you, Jeff, for the super chat. There was another one here. Azzy, a regular to these live streams, always tunes in without fail, Azzy. So thank you very much for joining us tonight and for the previous 59 live streams. His low light was taking the triple captain off of Aguero in the game week 2. Dropped rumours. If you remember this was Aguero versus Huddersfield, game week 2.
Loads of people did that.
I got a feeling this was the Jamie Jackson thing on Twitter. Do you remember this?
Yeah, but who even is Jamie Jackson?
Well, he is the Manchester correspondent for the Guardian newspaper,
right?
Who we all consider to be an absolute. I've got to choose my words carefully. He was an authority.
Okay.
He was an authority on all things Manchester City.
So you thought you could trust him?
So he was a trusted source.
Okay. A bit like
Twitter.
What's it called? Anfield Express.
Yeah, and I think because we'd had Anfield Express last season, we were all looking for, who's going to be the Anfield Express of this season.
Okay.
Even though Jamie Jackson is not an anonymous account, right? It is his account. But nevertheless, he came up with these, Aguero's not training, Aguero's not in the squad, Aguero's not going to play against Huddersfield. And of course, we're in game week 2, so everyone's still in sort of I want to tinker mode. A load of people take him out as he's taken the triple captain off of him for game week 2, and he scores a hat-trick. So what do you do? What do you do? I mean, that is just one of those moments, Azzy. One of those moments.
Painful.
So, yeah, all in all, though, I've enjoyed it, as ever.
And of course, just before we go to the polls, we should just give one final shout-out to Jeff and the in-laws that sent me my Spurs shirt this season, because that was one of our highlights of just FPL generally, wasn't it?
Absolutely. For all of the red cards and points and assists and removals of triple captains in game week 22 because of Guardian reporters, for all of that stuff, it is it's a game and we love playing it, and this has been an amazing season for FPL Family, hasn't it? Absolutely sensational season.
When you think about
we're going to say the same thing.
Probably.
We think about where we were this time last year.
I was going to say the same sentence.
I think we were about 3k on Twitter. I think we were about, your mum and your nan on Insta, and we were about
your mum and your nan.
About 1,500 on YouTube or something like that. And then the Premier League called us up. We want to be on the FPL show and all the rest of it, and it's just gone from strength to strength. And that's because of the likes of you guys that are tuning in every single week. The likes of Azzy, who's just super chatted there, in every week to listen to us, and that is we know and we appreciate we've got a really, really strong and loyal fan base, and that is all thanks to you guys that we get to do the stuff that we get to do down in Uxbridge with Jules and James, and we get to do all the promotional Christmas videos that we've loved doing as well, and all that stuff. It's been absolutely sensational season, really, really good, and I've loved it. Absolutely loved it. We've also launched the Patreon stuff as well, which is taking it to a whole nother level with you guys over in the Slack. We've done giveaways, we've given away prizes. Remember we did the Wembley Stadium tour for the Christmas present thing.
Yeah,
did
the
all
Christmas
that.
present. I love the Christmas present.
So we did all of that stuff as well. And it's just been great.
And the manager of the month things,
sensational.
They're brilliant. Like having a chat with the guys that win those manager of the month things, they are brilliant because they're such different and diverse people that we speak to, and it's so lovely to actually have a proper conversation with people that we interact with daily on our channels, but you don't ever meet. So
100%.
it's
Yeah,
lovely.
100%. So, and you're right to point out, Jeff and the in-laws getting together to fund your Spurs shirt in October. That was absolutely a highlight for me. A real act of kindness. Unbelievable. We've never met these people. These are people we're unlikely to ever meet, and it was sensational. So everyone that was involved in that,
and apologies,
we love you for it. Beautiful.
Apologies in advance to the Liverpool fans amongst you, because I will be using the lucky green shirt against you on June 1st.
You will be. Okay, very good, very good. And we should also when we're talking about, awesome moments from this year, we should absolutely shout out Gareth Edser, who instead of taking a £100 voucher, decided to donate it to Suge from Planet FPL's
for his run.
Marathon Children's Hospice Fund, which is just another awesome moment. So, getting to do stuff like that, or using this platform, which is something we pulled together just for a bit of fun, and we've got to do stuff like that, and we've met people that are willing to take action like that this year, is incredible, guys. Incredible. So we've loved it. Absolutely loved it. And we thank you all from the bottom of our hearts for doing it. We're going to take a few weeks off now to think about how we're going to take it to the next level.
Well, I'm going to
next
think about
year.
Aston Villa or Derby.
You're going to think about Aston Villa or Derby. We're going to probably do absolutely nothing until June the 1st. Because that is going to be a good game.
Well, I mean, we'll let you know on June the 2nd whether we'll be back for another
FPL Family
season.
is still a thing on June the 2nd. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean, otherwise we'll be back as FPL Divorcee 1 and 2 in separate guises next season.
Just Team Sam and Team Lee as individual accounts. Before we go, guys, we have to look at who you guys feel are the goalkeeper, defenders, midfielders and attackers of the year. So let's have a look at that. Goalkeeper of the year, Sam, I'd like your input on this. Etheridge, Fabianski, Alisson, Edison or Pickford. Guys, these are the polls, little top right-hand corner.
Definitely not that troll that is Edison. I'm going to go with Alisson because I think he's been so overlooked this season because of the quality defenders he's had in front of him.
Alisson, okay, very good, all right. 48% agree with you. So Alisson in at 48%, Edison in at 21%, Etheridge in at 17%, Pickford and Fabianski in at 6.
All brilliant keepers, to be fair, apart from Edison, who's a troll.
Defender of the year, Robertson, Trent, Laporte, Digne or Doherty.
Is this from a football point of view or an FPL point of view?
FPL. Hard, isn't it?
Yeah.
Hard. All had very, very good seasons.
I'm going to go with Doherty just on the basis that he's so cheap. He's so cheap, and for his value, I think he's been outstanding.
Okay, all right. Well, 57% of you guys are going with Robbo.
Otherwise, it would have been Robbo.
Very, very hard to disagree with that. I mean, he is everything that you want in an FPL defender.
My only guy I had all season.
Absolutely. Robertson 57%, Trent 28%, Laporte in at 7%, Doherty in at 6%. Digne in at 0%, which is kind of surprising, but when you look at the sort of company that he is keeping there,
but
you
he also
can sort
got
of
some red
understand
cards and all of that.
Why he's 0, yeah, but he is one to look for next season, 100%. Midfielder of the year from an FPL perspective, Sam, Salah, Hazard, Mane, Fraser or Sterling.
Well, Fraser's in good company there, isn't he?
He certainly is, isn't he?
Sterling for me.
Sterling, okay. 45% of you guys going with Mane, actually, Sadio Mane. Sterling second with 25%. Salah third with 12%. Fraser then in fourth with 9%. Hazard in at 7%. So Mane,
Hazard, 7%.
Well, again, look at the company he's in. Very difficult to argue with that.
Fraser will be loving that, beating Hazard.
Yes, absolutely. Another player
I'll screenshot that to Ryan Fraser.
Well, another player that's actually not in this list that crept into, I don't know if you noticed, the FPL Team of the Year, Gylfi Sigurdsson. He's in there as the top 5 FPL midfielders. Not even in the poll here, but he's one to look out for next year.
Top midfielder that flew around the world during the season, Son.
I could have put any number of players in here, but Mane is the overwhelming favourite in the FPL family community. Attacker of the year, Jimenez, Aubameyang, Aguero, Wilson, Rondon.
It's Jimenez for me. I think the man's a hero.
Jimenez, yes, 77% of you. I think that is, if I was going to, and I've said it before, he's player of the year, isn't he? I mean, he's been so consistent. His returns.
Unbelievable.
He's reliable.
And the price at the beginning of the season.
Just so cheap and such good value. 77% of you going Jimenez.
The question is, do you get him again next season?
All depends on price, doesn't it?
It does.
All depends on price. Aguero 12%, Aubameyang 4%, Rondon 3%, Wilson 1%. So Jimenez, the overwhelming favourite there. And I would say, yeah, player of the year for me.
Oh look, I like that
Jimenez,
from Joe. Did you see that? He's off to do some scouting. Maybe we'll get Joe on live to report back on the African Cup of Nations.
Joe, think I might be off to Egypt to watch the ACON, the African Cup of Nations. We'll be scouting the Premier League players for next season while I'm there. Absolutely. We need to keep an eye on African players. 3 African players with the Golden Boot. Salah, Mane, and Aubameyang.
In pre-season,
all African players. Superb.
When you've learnt how to Skype everyone on.
What a time it is for African football in the Premier League. Absolutely sensational stuff.
Joe can be our African reporter.
The African correspondent.
Yep.
Joe Finley-Ballard from Watford to Africa.
To Egypt, by the sound of it.
Very good. Yes, very good. From Watford to Egypt. Very good. Guys, that is it. That is it for this
that's
season
it.
of FPL Family. That is it. Have we forgotten to do anything? We've spoken to Yanski. We've done our predictions.
What are we going to do next week?
What are we going to do with our lives next week? We're going to be looking forward to June the 1st. That's what we're going to be doing. We are looking forward to June the 1st and the Champions League
I
final.
suppose we better talk to each other next week because we might not be talking a week after.
Well, this is it. When do you expect the game to be re-released for next season? Normally like mid-July or something, isn't it?
Normally, yeah.
So it's all going to kick off again
is that
then.
next weekend?
Don't know.
That must be next weekend.
Next weekend, I would have thought. It's coming up pretty soon. And we've got Derby County versus Aston Villa. We've got John Terry versus Frank Lampard.
Frank.
Going to be a hell of a game, that, by the way. If the previous Leeds versus Derby encounters have got anything to go by. I mean, that was a serious game the other night.
Just think that life don't get any better if you get to watch Match of the Day every week and see that beautiful face.
You've got a bit of a thing for Frankie Lampard. I mean, I've noticed that.
I love Frank.
Over the years, yeah, and I've got a bit of a thing for John Terry, so there we go. It could be a good head-to-head, couldn't it?
Sorry, I think you've got a bit of a thing for Frank Lampard's wife, haven't you?
Who's he married to?
Christine Blakely.
Oh yes, yeah, okay, yeah, I'll give you that one. I'll give you that one. So that is it, guys. Keep following us throughout the summer, right? Stuff is. It's going to be a little bit quieter over the next few weeks, I'm sure, but it's definitely worth following at FPL Family on Twitter and at FPL Family on Instagram, at least until June the 2nd, to find out what happens in the Champions League final, get our reactions, find out whether we're still together on June the 2nd. That would be the first thing to realise. You're going to put some time and effort into the Facebook over the summer? Is that going to happen?
What am I going to put on it? Nothing's happening.
No, but just kind of, I don't know, think about what we might do on the Facebook.
I've put some stuff on it at the end of the season.
Okay, the Facebook is brilliant.
I mean, no it isn't. It's rubbish. But I'll try. I will try next season. We will do some Ohanas for the patrons over the course of the summer as things come up that we can talk about. Like once we know whether it's Derby or Aston Villa, I'll do something on.
Yes, and absolutely a good time to be an FPL Family patron. If you want to come and join us over there and unlock all of the posts that we've had this year in terms of figuring out what an Ohana sounds like and all that sort of stuff and what the Manager of the Month thing is all about, because you'll get 2 for 1 at the moment. We are not charging our patrons for June and we won't be charging you guys for July either.
So you get 2 for
2? 3 for the price of 1 or something like that. I don't know, because it always charges in arrears, so you get charged at the end of a month, so you won't be charged at the end of June or at the end of July and at the end of August when FPL kicks in again.
Oh, I see, so you'll get a bit of May. What's left of May?
Yeah. So June and July, that's the message. We're not charging patrons.
Amazing.
Because no FPL, no Manager a month, but there will still be some Ohana content and there will be the odd bits and pieces that we do in the Slack, right?
Yes.
So there we go. If you want to go and check it out, go check it out. So there we are, available on all your favourite media, Twitter, Instagram, as ever. Looking forward to the 1st of June. Looking forward to the 1st of June, guys.
All Instagram live.
It's going to be an absolute hell of a game. Really looking forward to it. It's going to be absolutely awesome. Until then, thank you very much. Thank you for this season. Been absolutely brilliant. The onus is on me to come back strong next year. I'm 2-0 down, guys. 2-0 down in the FPL Family.
That's staying with you.
Wooden Spoon Trophy is absolutely in my cabinet right now. It needs to go back into your cabinet, or needs to at least make its debut in your cabinet, because it's never been there, frankly.
That's never coming to me.
2-0
down. It's going to be with you forever.
Need to make a comeback next season. Thank you for everything this season, guys, and we will see you very, very soon. Cheers.
Take care, guys. I can't even say green arrows.
What would you say instead?
I don't know.
Goodbye and good luck.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.